I don't regret for a minute my simple, unplanned, and peaceful act to prevent ongoing harm to one vulnerable animal.
Welcome to the Hen Report. I'm Jasmin Singer.
I'm Mariann Sullivan.
Thank you for joining us today. It is a dreary, chilly day here in Rochester, but spring is around the corner. I'm sure of it. The buds are
It's
starting
always
to bud.
important to mention the weather. Can't do it too frequently. I just want everybody to know that before we started recording, Jasmin said, "Oh, I don't feel like looking at anything. Let's just do it." So we're winging it.
No, we're not winging it. I did look at it before. I just usually review it again. But who needs that when there's weather to talk about?
Right.
Another thing you can't talk about enough is that the Our Hen House podcasts are sprinkled throughout your week, just like the rain that is going to come down today in Rochester. Rising Anxieties comes out on Tuesdays, and you have been on fire lately. The Hen Report on Thursdays.
That's one way to put it.
That's this. And the long-form interview on Fridays. Bonus for Flock members comes out on Mondays. We are on YouTube. We're on any podcatcher where you like to listen to podcasts. So hit subscribe, hit like, and comment wherever you listen. So a couple things I wanted to chat about. I have, my play is actually in less than a month now. I'm in this play called Deep Blue Sound, which is about whales. And, it's about the disappearance of whales. And obviously there's also like a human element.
There are not any whales appearing in the play. Is there anybody playing a whale?
There is, but it's like kind of artistic, and like he just comes on stage and says, "I am a whale." Like he's not in a costume or anything.
Oh, really? That was a joke. I thought I was making a joke.
Well, I also sort of ruined the ending for you. just so you just forget that we had this conversation.
All right. I forget almost everything these days, so that should be easy.
Samesies. Anyway, and so it's the most wonderful cast. Like it's a fairly large cast, like 9 or 10 people, and everyone is just so talented and professional. And I'm like, I do not always have this experience in theater, especially like at the level of theater that I'm doing, where you get your professional actors, but you also get non-professional actors. And so we were sitting around yesterday and someone brought a bunch of cake and he said, "Sorry, I don't have anything vegan." And someone was like, "Well, how many vegans do we have here?" And I was like, "Well, me, but I kind of count for 4 vegans." I said, "I've been vegan for more than 20 years, blah, blah, blah." And then
so you didn't mean you eat 4 times as much as other people. You meant that you...
No, like
that you're really, really, really,
really
vegan.
Really vegan, yeah. It was funnier in the moment, or it wasn't. I don't know. But in any case, so there's always this jar of jelly beans at rehearsal. I don't know why. I think that's a little weird. But the other day someone brought Reese's Oreos. So it's basically Oreos with peanut butter stuffed in, and they're vegan.
I've heard of them. Yeah.
So I was like, I made a big deal of it. I was like, I'm going to eat one because it's vegan. And anyway, so yesterday we started talking about the vegan thing, and somehow the topic gets onto like this lotion that someone brought that he made, and there's like tallow in it. And so he's like, "You can't use my lotion because it has tallow in it." And someone next to me who plays a horse groomer in the play said, "What's that made of?" And he was like, "Horses." And he was kidding. And she was like, "Oh my God." And it was kind of this horrifying. And then he's like,
"What is it made of?"
"Beef." That's what he said.
Oh, all right.
So
that's so much better.
I know. And it was like this weird moment. Then we start talking about gelatin because it's in the jelly beans. And I was like, there's a lot.
Nice segue.
Lot of jelly beans that don't have gelatin in them. And someone's like, "What's gelatin?" I'm like, "Oh God, it's pretty awful." I mean, speaking of horses, like there could be horse hooves in it. And it's just, it's really vile. And people were kind of shocked, and then they're like, why is everyone being poisoned with food these days? And I'm sitting there trying so hard to be like, approachable and not use this moment as a moment to like browbeat people, but so I kind of took, like, more of a backseat role, so to speak, than I usually would, and the conversation kind of went there on its own. Like, I didn't have to do very much. People did start connecting the dots. Um, so and, and then someone also harkened back to the cookie that I had the other day. They're like, "Well, I guess there is lots of vegan food that you wouldn't even know is vegan." It's like they started
So
to.
did they all go vegan?
Yes, that's the end
Such a good
of this story.
story.
They all went vegan.
Yay.
It's
I'm
a
only
there's
kidding. I think moments upon moments upon moments make a difference.
yeah.
I
And
didn't
then
mean to make it sound like it does.
oh,
It
no, it's
doesn't.
fine. It's interesting because it's, like, a play explicitly about animals, and
Right.
so,
Right.
um, anywho, I get back in my car to leave to go home, and I'm listening to this book. I'm listening and you know this. I'm listening to Jamie Raskin's book called Unthinkable, and, I think probably at least some of our listeners are familiar, but, Jamie Raskin's son, Tommy, had got
Congressman Jamie
right,
Raskin
yes. Hey, who's
from
vegan.
Maryland.
Yeah, and, his son Tommy had died by suicide right before the January 6th, insurrection, like a week before or so, or a little yeah, I think exactly a week before, and so the book really I'm not done with it, but it weaves together, trauma and kind of the danger of papering things over, whether it's mental illness or, like, the loss of democracy, and, I just wanted to shout it out because clearly he partly wrote it, if not fully, to honor the legacy of Tommy, who was an animal rights activist.
Passionate animal rights activist.
He was an intern at MFA, and he really made people in his life go vegan, and, this is very sad, but his suicide note, though I'm not quoting it exactly, it was very short, and it said something along the lines of, "Today my illness won. Take care of the global poor and the animals," or something along those lines. And Jamie Raskin is really very much honoring Tommy's legacy,
Yeah.
and bringing a lot
And of
of
course Jamie Raskin
awareness.
is fairly famously vegan
Right,
himself
yeah.
because of his son.
And mhm.
It
Yeah.
like it makes it I have such a I mean, I don't think this is an unusual reaction. I know that Tommy, he had a serious mental illness and this was the result of it. But there's just part of me that's so angry. I mean,
I
I can't
it's
help
an
it.
it's a natural I think that's a
Yeah,
natural
I admire
reaction.
Jamie Raskin for getting over that because I'm sure
Oh,
and God, that man has been through so much.
I
Then he
would not
got cancer that he's
I
leading the charge against Trump. Like it's unbelievable what
I
that
just
man's
wanna say
life is like.
I don't think he got over his anger, I'm
Well,
sure. I mean,
all right,
it's a
all right.
soupy
He's
mix
moving
that
through it.
he's moving
Like,
through it because I think he feels, that as so many do, there's no other choice.
yeah,
But, suicide is I think it's like maybe the second leading cause of death among young people in this country. It's really unbelievable how much it's exploded in recent years alone. I think, like, 1 in every, 4 teenagers has thought about it. Like,
yeah.
it's
Well, I don't think thinking about suicide and committing suicide are they're very, very different. Almost everybody.
yeah, and
I
I don't
think I
actually
would be surprised if it's not more than 1 in 4 have what they call suicide ideation. I mean,
sure, it might have been more
that's a
than
common thing, and then there are grades, and then
yes.
there's. I mean, it's complicated.
I don't
Just because
love
you
the word
think of suicide doesn't mean that you're going to commit suicide, but
I don't like
something to pay
commit in
attention
this
to.
context, and I know I'm being the word police, but it feels like I mean, I guess it is a crime, but it just to me, it's a little more finger pointy than understanding of the unbelievable mental anguish that someone needs to be under in order to go there. But anyway, I we don't have
No,
to dwell
we
on
could talk
this.
about suicide all day, but we're not a suicide podcast.
Right, exactly. But this why did this make me think of the lobster woman? There was some reason why I said that we should talk about this ecologist article
I don't know,
here.
you didn't say.
Why don't you start talking about it and I'll remember the tie-in?
I don't know why I thought we should mention it because if it is certainly not going to encourage anybody to be an activist, but this took place in the UK, and
I remember why. Okay, continue.
the name of the article, which is in the Ecologist, is "I Liberated a Lobster and Got Crushed." This is by Emma Smart, who is a scientist, a marine biologist specifically, and this is about an incident where she walked into this fishmonger or restaurant. It's a high end restaurant. Oh, it's a fishmonger below a high end seafood restaurant in Weymouth. Uh,
Mhm.
and she said, "I did what we've all thought of doing." There was a lobster in an aquarium. The very bare aquarium. She picked up the lobster. She walked calmly out and eventually released the lobster into the wild. She knew what she was doing. She's a marine biologist. It was, there was unbelievable discourse. The press paid much closer attention to the restaurant owner. And 6 weeks after she liberated the lobster, 4 police officers in 3 vehicles arrived at her home, and she was strip searched, and her home was
Unbelievable.
ransacked. As the I don't know what
What
they were
the
searching for, like hidden lobsters. I don't know. She was taken into custody. Was charged with 5 very serious offenses, most of which were thrown out. But she did ultimately, I think, pled guilty to a charge of criminal damage to a lobster, even though she's the one who didn't damage the lobster. And as she pointed out, this probably cost taxpayers around £13,000.
Oh my god.
And all she wanted to do was to save a lobster. Admittedly, what she did was pretty obviously illegal. I'm not
Mhm.
going to deny it. But what's going on in people's like
It's
like
it's just it's
why do
like
the people they clearly hated her. They hated her. Like the press hated her. The police hated her. Like the way they treated her was emotional.
we're missing the forest for the trees here. I mean, it reminds me of Ridgeland and the way the cops and the security came down on the activists there rather than like looking at the bigger picture to mix metaphors. And I remember why I was drawing a connection before. It wasn't a connection with Jamie Raskin. It was a connection with the story of my rehearsal and the woman who plays the horse groomer who didn't want to have a horse product, but was fine having a beef product. It sort of reminded me of that because this was a marine biologist saving the lobster. There was just like a Jasmine connection in my
Yeah.
Jasmine-y brain. But in
Yeah.
any case, what a story. That's
And
crazy.
this is her closing line, which I think is quite lovely. "I will not be a bystander, and I don't regret for a minute my simple, unplanned, and peaceful act to prevent ongoing harm to one vulnerable animal."
Oh
Beautifully
my
said.
God. Wow. I love that. That is beautifully said. All right. Well, something else that was beautifully said. I said that you were on fire on rising anxieties, and I stand by that. I really love when our listeners get this like access into your brain, which, and I know you roll your eyes when I say this, but our hen house, which started,
It actually sounded a little like surgery.
it, our, our hen house, which started in January of 2010, was, partly created because I had a front row seat to Mariannisms, and I just was like, everyone needs this.
I feel
And
like I've been talking on this podcast forever,
yes, I
constantly.
know,
So,
but there's a particular type of punditry that you don't always have
all
because
right.
you're,
All right.
and
I will
the
accept the compliment. Thank you.
yeah, well, and you should. So what, hopefully our listeners have already heard it, but just give us a quick glimpse into what you talked about because I'd love to kind of continue that conversation a
Yeah.
little
I
bit.
mean, it wasn't really a rant. I just talked about, the whole thing in animal advocacy right now is anti-factory farming. Like that's the take that everybody is adopting. I'm fine. I'm all for it. I think it's good. Everybody hates factory farming. I think inventing the term factory farming was one of the most brilliant things this movement ever did, and we want to use it to the fullest. And so, but I don't fully. What I was writing about the other day, or talking about the other day, was that I don't fully understand the theory of change behind an anti-factory farming campaign. Like, what do they mean by factory farming? Are people going to start claiming that cage-free campaigns are anti-factory farming? Because it just seems to be cage-free campaigns
Yeah.
are exchanging one form of factory farming for an arguably better form of factory farming. That's
Mhm.
one thing. And also just like how, if you're talking about it as a theory of change, you kind of have to talk about the fact that factory farming is how we feed the world. So what what is going to replace it? Like you can't ignore that.
Yeah.
And I feel like, a lot of people talking about it, which, and I do not have a full view of the discourse, but maybe, we could use a little bit more filling out. But, I'm the kind of person who always likes to pin everything down. All right, what's the theory of change? Blah, blah, blah. And that's not always a good idea. And I was reminded of that by this video I saw about this new campaign in the UK. It's a big campaign. It's obviously got some money behind it. It's called Project Slingshot. The person I saw who seems to be heading it up and who I saw talking about it was Matthew Glover. And basically, it's about trying to change public messaging about animals from go vegan to anti-factory farming because people shut down with the vegan message. I don't want to put words in anybody's mouth. But I think that's the theme. And, as I mentioned, I was saying that if we're going to get rid of factory farming, we have to say what will replace it. But this campaign kind of takes sort of, and we'll talk about that a little bit, takes the position, no, we don't have to talk about what replace it. We can maybe it's better to let people figure that out for themselves. Maybe they don't feel so pushed. Maybe
Mm.
they want to see what the problem is. They they have more understanding of what the problem is than they used to, and they can figure it out. And there are other organizations. It doesn't have to be part of this campaign. There may be other organizations that will tell people we'll do this, do that. So I think that's the idea behind this campaign, and the campaign is really good. They
Yeah,
do
no, for
seem to
sure.
define factory farming very strictly. That was one of my worries, that all of a sudden factory farming would just mean the worst of the worst of the worst of the worst. But no, they really mean, uh, all of the abuses.
Mhm.
You can look on their website, but they define it strictly. And they're calling it a pressure campaign. They're starting in London. And as Matthew Glover said in this speech, their North Star is always end factory farming. And things he points out, some of which I would push back on a little bit. There's no vegan identity push. Okay, that's the thing that really people are worried that that's not working. This, you have to go vegan. So there's none of that. There's no telling people what to eat, which I'm not sure. I mean, they're not even suggesting. There's nothing about it. I'm not sure. I think that's necessary, but that's their theme, so I can respect that. There's no purity shaming. And my reaction to that was, oh, come on. I mean, like, yeah, there are vegans online who have bad discourse, but that's not what the movement is doing by and large, purity shaming. Come on. Like, this movement is so far past that. There's so many good activists doing all sorts, but whatever. Another thing, no climate framing, which I thought was interesting. Apparently, like, they acknowledge you can't get anybody to care about climate change. We're not messing up our message with that nonsense. All right, we're also fucking screwed. And no culture wars. I don't even know what they mean by that. What do they mean, culture wars? But the basic theme that they want to tell people, which I think is really good, and I think their slogan is completely brilliant, is the theme is like you're being lied to, because they understand that people in the UK and everywhere, but really in the UK, um, uh, don't understand that all their food is from factory farms and how bad they are because they're being lied to. And the slogan is "Don't buy it." Isn't
Yeah.
that good?
Yeah,
The double
I'm
entendre of "Don't buy it," like don't buy what they're saying and don't buy what they're selling.
yeah, I and they have a bunch of celebrities,
Yeah, and the videos
behind
are great.
it. Yeah, no, for sure. So, I am familiar with this campaign and, with Matthew's work, and I, let me just say first that I agree that this is a really brilliant campaign, and having it on the tube in London is also fantastic because as he pointed out in the video, people are, like, looking for things to look at and read because they don't wanna, like, awkward this was funny to
I
me.
have
They don't wanna
having
awkwardly look at the person across from them on the tube. Yeah, I know what you're about to say, I feel the same way, having lived in New York City for
yeah.
so many
I've been
years,
on subways for hours and hours and hours of my life, so I
and
love subway ad campaigns. I think they really
same.
reach a lot of people. I mean, of course,
Yeah.
people have phones now, so it's different. You always have something to look at, but still, you look at those subway ads.
And in London, apparently, like, everyone takes it. I mean,
Yeah,
like,
it's
in
like
New
New
York,
York. It's
there's
how you get
well,
around.
no, I think in New York, there's a lot of politicians who take cars, for example, to go down to
I
City
don't
Hall,
know,
but
the traffic in New York
I
City
know,
is
it's crazy.
horrifying. It's easier. The subway is the best way to get around.
Yeah. Well, in any case, they were making the point that, like, everyone, rides the tube, and I love it. Also, "Don't Buy It" is just brilliant. So I wanna just kind of say that
All right, let's hear
first.
it. Let's hear it.
I do not give people the benefit of the doubt that they will wind up on the right side. That when he says in the video, uh, he says, "We're not gonna tell people what to eat because it's obvious." I don't think it is, and I would like to go back to my story of my rehearsal where and it's funny because I didn't think about this when I was telling you that story a few minutes ago, but, when I took a back seat, people were having the conversation and then you jokingly said, "Did they all go vegan?" And I said, "Yes, they all went vegan." They're not gonna go vegan. I mean, uh, they're not, and I think that I raised awareness about veganism, and maybe they'll, like, look at a vegan item differently, and try it, but I don't think I think there's like a 0.001% chance that they will go vegan, and so likening that story to this situation, I don't think it's obvious. I do think that people at the end of the day will or at the end of their tube ride will say, "Yeah, factory farming is awful," but I think they will continue to think that the food that they're purchasing is not factory farmed, and I think they will put it in a compartment in their brain, this information, that is not you can't access when you're eating lunch. I really think that attaching anti-factory farming messaging to some kind of what you do next is important. I will also say that I don't know if I'm right. I think that there are this is just my knee-jerk feeling here, and there are plenty of people who have done a lot of actual research into this who would disagree with me, and they're probably way more knowledgeable than I am about this. So, this is my opinion, and I am a bit doer, as we know, and a bit of a
And
curmudgeon.
you know how to pronounce it correctly.
Doer. Thank you, Marianne, for correcting me every time I said dour. And now I go around and correct people, and they don't believe me. In any case, yeah, I
I have a few
I
things to
struggle.
add.
Please.
I mean, I hear you. Like, people will do anything to jump to avoid the conclusion that I should go vegan. I am actually not sure, and I think one of the things they're predicating on is that telling people that they should is not gonna make a difference, and it might make things worse. And I think that's true because 'cause we've been trying that. I also think it's possible this is a really positive framing, particularly in the UK, that, you know, people started by exposing what's happening on factory farms and then to doing the, vegan thing. Because exposing what was happening didn't do it. Then they did the vegan thing. Vegan food is great. Like, this is fabulous. It's all delicious. And that made a little inroads, particularly in the UK, but not much. And so we're moving to the next step on the assumption that because we've taken those steps already, they kind of do know that the only answer here is to go vegan, but they have to come to it themselves. So I think it's possible that this is just, another step forward in what has already been a series of activist steps forward, so that we're at a point where people do know that the thing to do here is to stop eating them.
Mm.
Um, and I do think that "don't buy it" does pretty strongly imply that you're not supposed to buy it. But oddly, they do have action items. I don't know, I guess I was really surprised by this. Their action items are all political. Write to your MP to ban uh whatever. They have a lot of different they will be rolling out a lot of different campaigns about a lot of different animals. But I think that's weird. Like, if you're going to give people what the solution is, I think then you do have to say, we're not going to end factory farming without huge diet change. So you have to consider diet change. If you're not going to give any solutions at all and you're just trying to raise consciousness and have
Mhm.
people decide for themselves what to do. But if you're going to say what you should do about the fact that pigs are suffering in this way is call your MP and support this legislation, they'll say, oh, that's what I should do. Yeah, I'm going to do that when I get home. And then, they don't.
Yeah.
So that was weird. I mean, I'd be interested to know why they included that. It didn't.
Mhm.
I mean, I thought it was brilliant anti-factory farming framing, which I was really happy to see because that's something I had questions about, and I really liked how they defined factory farming. But like I said, I like to pin things down and to not mention that we can't feed the world unless you go vegan. Unless everybody goes vegan or close to it. You don't have to go vegan. That's the other thing that I really want to emphasize. I knew there was something else. I think there is a big difference between vegan, vegan identity advocacy. Go vegan. You should be a vegan, and vegan options advocacy, which is the kind of advocacy I think that most vegans do. Like they bring the vegan choice. They the plant-based default things in cafeterias. Like they make the argument. Like they're not telling people you have to go vegan. They're making the options available and encouraging people to try them. So I think we really have to separate vegan options advocacy, which I can't imagine they don't think is absolutely crucial. You got to get the food out there. And vegan as an identity advocacy, which, go vegan, they're afraid is putting people off or think that it's either harmful or just not really effective because people have to get there on their own.
Mhm.
I'm not sure that anybody's making that distinction, and I think it's pretty important. Vegan options advocacy is crucial, absolutely
Yeah.
crucial.
That's exactly how I feel, and, it is funny to me to really think about this conversation and this campaign in light of what I told you about my rehearsal, because if if my existence and the little that I said in that room is sort of equivalent to the billboard on the tube, then is the next step to just sort of wait for everyone in the room to go vegan on their own accord? Or, like, do I bring in vegan cake? And if I bring in vegan cake and share it, then that's where I divert from this campaign, because there is not that element, and I
Well,
think that that
I
element.
mean, this campaign is making very clear that they consider themselves one element of an advocacy
Mhm.
ecosystem. And
Right.
and they're depending on other groups to do other things. And I'm not sure they would say that that's not something people should be doing. It's just not the piece they're doing. So
Mhm.
I'm not sure that they would say that. But I think that they would say probably. I don't. I'm not shouldn't put. I think some people would say. I don't know what they would say. I'm putting words in their mouth. That if you bring that option in with the goal of getting people to go vegan, you got to change your head. Like, you just got to change your head. It's the goal of people recognizing what we're doing to animals on factory farming and doing something to stop that, and encouraging them to understand that probably eating vegan food is the way to do that. But get rid of this, like, go vegan, go vegan, go vegan, because they don't think it's working.
Mhm.
I'm
I
not
appreciate
saying
that.
that I agree. I'm
Yeah,
just trying
and
to
I
sort it
appreciate
out.
it. Our hen house was also founded on the principle that we have no idea.
many
That,
ways
like,
forward,
there
none of which
there are many
work.
ways and none of which we know. I mean, that's why we have such a interesting array of guests. Everyone's doing something a little bit differently than the next person, so
It did allay my fears a lot about a few things. The main one being what they mean by factory farming. Um,
Mhm.
and if we get rid of factory farming, and this is the part that I don't understand how you don't say, but I think they deliberately don't say it because they don't think it's a good idea. Like if you get rid of factory farming, people have to eat. They can't eat meat. Like we can't do it. It doesn't work.
Right. But people don't go there, in my experience. They just think that there are more, quote, unquote, "responsible ways of doing it," and so I don't think it nips it in
But
the
I think
bud,
that
but
gets in the way of them stopping because then they believe nonsense.
true. Yep. Alright, well, interesting chat. I'm sure we'll keep chatting
We
about
didn't
it.
fix it.
We didn't? Okay, well, we'll have to chat harder next time. Uh, let's go on to some announcements before we end. Applications are now open for Kickstarting for Good 2026, an 18-week incubator for social impact entrepreneurs working to transform the food system toward a more plant-based or plant-forward
Plant forward.
future.
I'm
Plant
sure they chose
forward.
that language
I
carefully.
know, I know. I'm
Don't.
sorry I said the thing.
You
Didn't
know,
mean to.
plant-based used to be the good thing to say,
I know.
and now
I'm
we have to say
sorry.
something softer than plant-based. It's got to be plant forward.
Well, this program, which is truly fantastic, connects participants with over 40 global mentors and offers a share of $350,000 in seed funding. Last year, 18 initiatives graduated, and within 6 months, they had collectively raised $1.5 million
That's
to scale
crazy.
their impact. Applicants from around the world are welcome. You can apply solo or with a team, whether you're launching a new idea or growing an existing project. So if that's you or someone you know, head to kickstarting.org to learn more and apply, and you need to apply by May 31st, which is so much quicker, so much sooner than it feels. I know we
Yeah.
started the
Yeah.
podcast talking about the weather. Now let's talk about time passing. Do
All
you
right.
do
Do
you
you want me to
wanna
do
do
this
this?
one?
Yeah, I do. Go ahead.
Anima International is opening applications for its 2026 fellowship, which is a 3-week intensive program in Warsaw. Um, and the program is in September, the 1st to the 20th of September. And it combines advocacy training with the CARE conference, and it includes a stipend. And you have to apply by May 17th. So really get on that one.
Mhm. May 17th is even closer than May 31st.
All right, we already mentioned this a few weeks ago when Susie Stork was on the podcast, but the Grassroots Animal Rights Summit is going to be in DC May 15th to 17th. So
Mm.
yeah, that sounds like an exciting. They're doing such exciting work.
That's garsummit.com, and we will link to all of this in the show notes, of course. Rising Anxieties comes out on Tuesdays. I can't wait to see what you've got up your sleeve for next week, Marianne. No
No, I'm going to go
pressure.
back to like finding out what the industry's
Okay, that's
anxious
fine.
about. I'm not
We
going to
love
do a
that too.
rant every week.
We love whatever you do. The Hen Report comes out on Thursdays, that's this. The long form interview comes out on Fridays, and the bonus content for Flock members comes out on Mondays. We're a podcast, we're on YouTube. Hit subscribe, hit like, comment wherever you listen or watch. And we will talk to you next time.